MOMnation has literally touched so many lives, so many families, and not just the women. I mean, like their kids, their spouses, and so can you imagine having all of that for years and then moving, Katie?
I know.
Moving to another state without MOMnation.
Which is why you just make them happen in every single state you move to.
Exactly. So
who I need to be, coming from the heart, coming from the heart.
Welcome back to MOMnation from the Heart. And now a word from our sponsor.
Hi, it's Marilyn
and Bruce
of Montage Duo. We are a versatile musical act that performs music from the 1940s to today.
We cover a wide range of musical genres and styles, including classic rock, pop, country, funk, blues, and even a little jazz.
So, if you're looking for professional quality entertainment in the greater Phoenix area, either for an intimate acoustic setting
or a rockin' full band sound, Montage Duo will please you and your guests, engaging them to join in the fun by providing an interactive entertainment experience.
For more information, visit our Facebook page at Montage Duo.
Well, hey, MOMnation, we are back with another episode of From the Heart, where we share inspirational stories, useful information, and we discuss a variety of women-related topics. I almost forgot. I was going to say projects. I suppose that could work too. We discuss women-related projects here, don't we, Cheri?
We sure do.
I am Katie, the founder of MOMnation, and I am here with my amazingly beautiful co-host, Cheri Ramo, the co-founder. Everybody go, yay, Cheri.
Hi.
Welcome, my dear. And we don't have a guest today. And we don't have a guest today because we are going to chit chat a lot about MOMnation, about the group, about what goes on in there. Because I don't know about you, but I get the question a lot, like, what is MOMnation?
Yes. And I feel like we've had so many brand new members. It's always a good time to recap on what the group's about, mission, vision, all of those things.
Totally agree. So how do you answer that question? Because I know how I answer that question, and it ends up being like this super long conversation. It's like a huge novel. This is what it is. Yeah. And I'd like to condense that a little bit. Maybe you're better at it than I am. So when you get the question, like, what do you say?
Mine's never ending too, because I'm like, oh, and then we have this and this and this and this and this, and it never stops. But basically, I mean, it's a community of women that support one another, uplift one another, share their experiences, and a platform for you to just connect on so many levels. I've made so many friendships in this group that it's amazing. And the crazy part now, 6 years later, right? 6 years?
About that.
Is that people that I've met through MOMnation completely online. I've moved numerous times since to different states. And there are people that I met through MOMnation from Arizona that I now live next to and like have super close bonded relationships to, that I felt like I knew in person, but I never actually knew in person until, years later.
Isn't that so crazy?
It's literally insane. Like still to this day, I can't believe it. Like you wouldn't believe it. It sounds like it's out of a movie.
It really does. And I have, my entire life is full of MOMnation members also. And it's funny because I'll think of that every once in a while and I'll think, how did I meet this person? When did this person come into my life? And it's honestly, because we've been working together now for 6 years and MOMnation is just 7 years old. So yeah. It's like, it's starting to get up there. It's starting to pretty much be the only history, the only past I remember. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Like it's almost a decade old. Can you believe it?
I cannot. And things have changed so much. I need a tissue. I should have brought one because I know I'm going to need one for this episode, but things have changed so much from what it was in the beginning and kind of what the vision was there and to what it is now. And probably in another 7 to 10 years, it's going to be totally different or, encompass more things than it does even now, which is mind blowing and kind of hard to imagine. But that's been the trajectory that we have been on. So I've talked about MOMnation and kind of the beginnings and the reasons for it and all of that. But I don't think we've ever done either a podcast or a live and learn, or even had you speak publicly about your experience when you came in, what it looked like, kind of how you felt. You obviously jumped in with both feet, as you do with absolutely everything, which is reason number 1001 why I love you. But take us back to that, Cheri, and kind of that time in your life, and what did MOMnation do for you?
Wow. Okay. If we're going all the way back to when we went to the zoo, and we had that day with the kids and just talking, do you remember when you were like, hey, do you want to do this mom's group thing with me? And I was like, ew, what? No.
I'm not that kind of mom.
Okay, let's talk about, like, literally, I just shared the story. I had a facial done today, which is why I have no makeup and why my face is a little bit red.
You look beautiful.
Thanks. So I literally was just sharing the story because the lady who was the esthetician is a mom. And I was just, our state is a little bit smaller. It's newer. So I was just kind of explaining some of the things. And I told her, because she gave me that, like, oh, a mom's group kind of thing, like, not judging, but just like, when somebody tiptoes into something, they're like a little bit scared. And I totally understand that. And I can relate to that because my kids were older in 2015. Mm-hmm. And you first started it as a toddler, like as a baby toddler group, which makes sense. But I was like, where do I fit into that? My kids are older. How old were the girls?
Oh, shoot. Well, 7 years ago.
10, 9, 8, whatever. They were older. Mm-hmm. And so my thought then of a mom's group was like park play dates, and my kids were in school. So I'm like, well, I don't fit in there. And then the other thing is that women, like, I don't know. Like, I didn't want to be that involved with women because I don't like drama. And I had right. I was just like, I don't know. And what I think that we see and what we typically misconstrue of moms groups is that they're all catty. There's a lot of computer warriors just typing away, mom shaming. And that is the case for a lot of groups. But that's why you were like, no, our group's not going to be like that. Our group's going to be different than all of those things, those misconceptions that you have. And so I was like, okay, all right, well, we'll see. Let's see how this goes. So that's funny. That's what I remember about our initial, like, you saying, hey, do you want to do this with me? Do you remember anything else?
Because you're right. Because it's gone through many phases. It's like a caterpillar, right? That's turning into a butterfly, and it's kind of going through these different phases of life. And that is how it began. Because quite honestly, I was a 35-year-old mom. I didn't know my ass from my elbow. Like, I did not know what the hell was going on, what I was doing. I have to keep this thing alive. Cool. Can somebody help give me a little bit of advice maybe? And so my mom lived across the country, and she was, really the only, I had friends, like I had friends that were moms like you and some other people, but she was like my only, what I felt at the time, my support in terms of figuring this whole mother thing out. And I thought, well, okay, I can't leave my house because you have to take everything, including the damn kitchen sink, with you, right? And my kid, every time I would leave the house, my kid would barf. So he was really little, and, I'd get him in his car seat and everything. And in Arizona, especially in the summertime, it's warm. So it's not like it's the most pleasant thing to do, right? And so I'd put him in the car and we'd go to the grocery store or whatever it was, and he'd barf all over the place. So I never wanted to leave because I was constantly cleaning up barf every time he was in the car. So I thought, okay, well, we have this, online capability. Facebook was out and everything. And, I had felt pretty comfortable with Facebook at that point. And so I was like, well, everyone else is doing it. Let's do it. And if we, if I make some friends for my kid, great. If I make some friends for me, great. If I can get some advice on how to keep this thing going in the right direction, great. If I can find a nanny, even better, which I ended up finding a nanny through it. So you're right. I mean, even in the beginning, I think it was called East
Yeah,
Valley
it was like
Moms, and it was super long, right?
2015, 2014. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
which is
And then
funny
it was,
because
go
we
ahead.
have some of those OGs still in the group that are like, remember when the group was only 100 people and it was this really long name, and it's kind of how we all got together. So that was fun.
Yes, I even like still have my East Valley tank top, like one of the first, I think it was the first edition that we had.
Yep.
And I remember wearing it when I was pregnant with Rory, and everybody like saw the picture and they were like, oh my gosh, we want that one.
Yeah, that one's not in production anymore because the name
Right.
has changed, but I think it was East Valley MOMnation because it started, for those of you who are across the country listening to us, it did begin in Phoenix. And Phoenix kind of has two sections of town where we've got a lot of suburbs around Phoenix, but we call it the East Valley and the West Valley. And that's pretty much the two sections of town that we have. And so we began in the East Valley. We ended up having a separate group that was for West Valley, but it just didn't really take off like the East Valley did. So we decided to merge them. Remember that? I think that was during your time.
Yeah. And it wasn't, I mean, I like it being merged anyway, because I felt like it was a disservice to the West Valley because their group was so much smaller.
Yeah.
And so they didn't have all the same resources. So just being one unified group, you got access to way more beneficial information and, you know, these women that would just support and uplift you if you had a question or a post. So
yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's really important to us to quote unquote police the group. I don't love that word, but you know, just watch and make sure that those keyboard warriors aren't out and about, you know, on a daily basis. And we see things every once in a while that, you know, we'll talk and be like, hey, I don't really love that comment, or that was really uncalled for, or we don't need to go there with our content, you know, that kind of stuff. And I feel like over the years, we've become known for that. And it's really worked out well. I feel like, I mean, we've got just in the one group in Arizona, and we have 9 other states, but just in the one group in Arizona, we have over 10,000 women in there, and it's pretty calm and cool and supportive most of the time.
Yeah. And I mean, we get people to inbox us all the time, thanking us about that specific thing. The fact that they know they can be raw, they can be open, they can ask scary things that maybe they wouldn't ask in other groups because they know that, one, our group's very supportive and that's our culture, but 2, we don't tolerate that. And I think that makes it worthwhile for us, for Katie and I, and not to just speak for you, but I know you well enough to know that that's why we spend as much time as we do, putting in all of the different efforts and times and things into the group to manage and to police, or whatever other term you'd like to use, to make sure that it is a culture that's open for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really a big, important, big, huge deal to me. And I know that it's a big, huge deal to you too. And in this world where, you know, there's a lot of unfortunate things happening with, you know, mental health and stuff like that. And, you know, you never know where somebody's at. And what you say to them could really make or break what's going on for them that day. And I would hate to think that there was ever a tragedy that was suffered because of something that was said or done in our group. And that just always kind of hangs on my heart, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, I just personally think, like, who is anyone else to judge or, you know, be higher or mightier than someone else? Like, there's literally no reason for it. People can have whatever beliefs that they choose and they want, and, you know, that's their life. So
totally agree. We're all different. And if we were all the same, then it wouldn't be as fun or as interesting to, you know, to be in life. But that's, you know, that's not to say that if we ever caught wind of, and this has actually happened a couple of times, and we've had to, you know, act in relevant ways. But that's not to say if we catch wind of perhaps abuse that's going on or something like along those lines, that we're just going to be like, oh, you do you, it's your life, you make your own
Right.
choices. You know what I mean? So there is a line in the sand. I feel that is kind of drawn, and I feel a responsibility to society in terms of that. If there's something that we're notified about, just because we do hear and see a lot of things, then I feel like it's really important that we act appropriately in those instances.
Yeah, for sure. And I love that our members over the years have definitely kind of figured out what the group standard is and, you know, the golden rule essentially. And so if they see something out of line or, you know, something that's not falling in line with that golden rule, they alert us. So, I mean, it's great.
It is great. We do have a lot of members that have been around for a long time that understand how we operate. They fully support how we operate and they help us do that. And for that, we are so grateful, because it's really difficult to provide a community with all of the stuff that we provide without the help of others. And I mean, if you think about it, there are a lot of women in our experience that are so supportive of what's going on here that they do pitch in and help. There's a lot.
Yes. Well, and I know for me, back in 2015, like before we jumped into this, and I know that you probably have learned along the way, but much earlier on because you've been doing groups for years. I had no idea all the work that it entailed going into running and managing a group. And so, you know, I think people try to be mindful and try to be empathetic towards, like, you know, we get a lot of people that are like, oh, well, we know it's a lot of work. We know it's a lot of, but I don't think that anyone truly knows unless they're doing it, you know?
Yeah, it is. And for me, and I think it's the same for you too, is it's an absolute labor of love.
Yes.
Seeing the things that we see, and a few really big stories float to the top of my mind, right? Like seeing the things that we see on a daily basis, monthly basis, yearly basis, seeing the growth that happens. I know you kind of share in this with me. I'm super passionate about mom-owned businesses. I'm super passionate about mompreneurs that want to make their own schedule, you know, build their own legacy and be home with the kids at the same time. Like that to me is something that I want to see more of. I want to support. It's just, I mean, I get the chills, right? When I think about all of the moms that have been involved with us over the years and how we, now they're doing the work, but how we have provided a resource, sometimes even just a shoulder to cry on, right?
Right.
But have provided a resource for them to be able to grow in that way. I mean, countless moms.
Absolutely. And like, even if it's just a stepping stone for them to partner with and to grow their network and reach other moms, I mean, it really has been instrumental in so many businesses and their growth and adaptability. But you know, even outside of that, like a few stories come to mind too. Lynette, that always comes to mind.
Love her.
It just like literally gives me the chills every time to think about that.
So take us back to, so Lynette is probably one of the OGs. She's, I'm sure, been in MOMnation since either the very beginning or maybe 2015 when you came in. So we started in August of 2014. So she was in the very beginnings. I mean, I don't remember MOMnation without Lynette. So,
Right.
So that must mean it's been a while, but take us back to that. Give us your sort of your rendition of the story.
So I just remember her being this ball of sunshine, this ray of light, always from the get-go, from whenever I remember seeing her name. She was just a beautiful human and did all of these cute projects and things for the kids, perfume roller bottle, all kinds of things, and just spreading awareness on different things that she was an expert in. You know, and she's very into health and wellness, and I loved that. Just at that point, I was just kind of getting into the education stages of me getting into more naturopathic stuff. So that was huge for me. And I think that that's why I really took a liking to like following her and what she was doing. And, at some point it came to our attention. She let us know that, hey, something had happened with her paperwork. She's from South Africa, her family and her, and they were essentially getting deported while the paperwork was being fixed and redone and then processed. And so because she had been such an instrumental piece of community to not only our group, but just in the community in general, a few of us, more than a few, felt compelled to, do whatever we could. And so I remember a lot of us writing Congress and, trying to do anything that we could just to help this amazing woman and her family out. So thinking about that, and that was years ago, MOMnation was able to put that into play. I mean, if it was just your friend on Facebook or your friend down the street, like, would that have happened? Right. I don't think so. So now they're back and we're so excited that they're back, and oh my gosh. And I love watching all the things she's doing now, and she motivates me with all of her running and crazy miles that she gets in.
It's so true. She's so motivating. And I completely agree with you. Like, where can you find a group, an intimate group like that? Because we all, know each other so well, whether we're interacting online or, offline or whatever, we know each other so well. So where can you find that kind of support? It's really, really few and far between. So fast forward, she ended up coming back, stuff got taken care of. So she ended up coming back to the States, which was her goal, to never leave, actually.
Right.
And I think it maybe took a year or a year and a half. I'm sure what we did was helpful. And when she came back, some amazing stuff happened. So I wish she was actually here to tell us about it. I have lunch scheduled with her in a couple of days. So maybe it's a worthy podcast. I'm gonna actually make that note right now to ask her if she wants to be on it and talk about that.
Yes.
And maybe she can give us a little bit more detail, but she's so phenomenal. So she is a mompreneur. So she does have her own business, which again, Cheri and I love to support. And she got her, I want to say it's her first signed, does this make sense? She's like a signed athlete. So she does the Ironmans. I think that's what she does, like the triathlons. And so she has, a company that has sponsored her. There we go. That's the word. She has been sponsored by a company, and I think it's her first time. So it's very, very exciting that she's getting that recognition. She's got that sponsorship. MOMnation has sponsored her also. So
her suit is so cute.
Her suit is so cute. And it's got MOMnationAZ.com down the side because she's an Arizona girl. But the things that she has been able to pull off since returning have been mind-blowing. I mean, this girl is a total machine, and she has the most phenomenal little girls. So she has two little girls. Trying to think of their ages. Don't quote me. I want to say like 8 and 10, 7 and 9, something like that. And they are incredibly well-spoken. Of course, they speak two languages. They speak, what do they speak in South Africa? Oh, it escapes me. It escapes me right now, but they speak her native language as well as English perfectly. And they are the most polite, well-behaved children you would ever come into contact with. In fact, she was a client of mine. And so looking at houses together, usually like, okay, truth be told, when a real estate agent sees a bunch of kids coming, it's like, oh my goodness, this is going to be crazy. Because I got to take them into this house and I'm ultimately responsible for everything they do, right? And we know how kids are. Kids are kids. But her children are little angels. Perfect, like just so well behaved. I love them so much. So you're doing something right over there, Lynette.
Yes. And I mean, those types of situations or stories or events just literally make it all worthwhile. And I think that when you first asked me and I was kind of on the fence or at least skittish about it, some of the things over the years that I've realized is, hey, that even though I'm just one person and you're just one person, we have the ability to use our experiences and our life to help other moms, to build a community of resources, of experts out there, of other moms. I mean, we have counselors, we have doctors, we have dentists, we have, business owners, of all kinds, of different walks of lives. And that's such an amazing piece of the puzzle,
And here's the part that I love about that is I've got to spend the money anyway. I'm going to go see a doctor. I'm going to see a counselor. I'm going to, at some point in time, need an attorney for something. I'm going to need a facial, like all these things, right? So I'm going to be doing that anyway. I would much rather do that with somebody I know, like, and trust. And what better way to get to know them, like them, and trust them than with spending time with them, which is what this group allows us to do. So I feel more comfortable working with the people, the large group of experts that we've amassed over the years. I feel more comfortable with them than just Joe Schmo from Idaho. If I walk down the street and pop into some dentist or whatever, and I don't even know them from Adam, So that's where it really, there's lots of benefits that I extract from this, lots of very, very heartfelt benefits, but that is a huge one for my family because I feel confident. Like, I have an appointment tomorrow afternoon with one of our attorneys just to talk about some stuff. I'm not in trouble. And I'm not going to be, that I know of, but I want to talk through some stuff that I've got kind of going on in my world right now. And they are from the group, and it's, somebody that connected me with that attorney that, again, I've known because she's one of the OGs. I've known her for 7 years,
Yeah. And the other thing that I think I love is that, us being business owners ourselves, I see a huge value in supporting a smaller, local owned mompreneur and you say this all the time, than a giant corporation that really doesn't care about the little people.
Right.
And I would much rather support and know that, hey, I'm paying for this anyway. Why wouldn't I help another family that has children, that has X, Y, and Z, all of the same things that I'm going through? Like, hey, I want to put my kid in piano or this and that. Like, I would much rather use my money to buy something that I'm already going to, that's going to help another family.
Totally agree. Honestly, even if it costs me an extra $1.
Yeah.
Okay. Totally worth those 4 quarters to know that it's going in the pocket of somebody that has some gratitude, first of all.
Right.
And second, that I can trust, that I know isn't going to totally screw me over. Things happen. You have to be careful no matter who you are, no matter what you do, but there's a certain level of trust. There's a certain level of letting my guard down that I'm able to do, which is nice. It's comfortable, right? I have so much to worry about anyway. So I have that extra level of sort of security, if you will, if that makes sense, when working with these loans.
For sure. I agree. And then a lot of times, it's nice. Like the lady I went and saw today, like I said, she's a mom and she's an esthetician and she does facials. Well, just in chatting, it came up that I have a swimsuit boutique, and she was like, oh my gosh, there's no swimsuit boutiques around. Like, it's a lot. If you guys ever go to a market or anything like that, you see a lot of the cute boho chic, like, clothes, right? But nobody has swimsuits. So she was super excited. And it's a great way for you to connect and have relationships with others. And I love something that Katie does is she connects and further networks with, like, let's say our creepy crawly pest control.
Mm-hmm.
So you work in real estate, having a contact for not only our moms group, but now you have a contact for all of your clients that love and trust. And together, you two have been able to grow astronomically, over the past few years. So that's just one tiny example, you guys. There's millions of examples, but those are the things that literally, like, hug my heart.
It's so true. And what you just brought up was a huge point, and it's giant for me in my business, because it's important for me to be able to refer to clients that are trusting me with their everything. Let's face it. It's
the biggest investment of their lives.
Exactly. They're trusting me with everything, to know that I can trust when I call, using your example, when I call Holly from Creepy Crawly, I know it's going to get done. I know it's going to be a reasonable cost. And I know she cares about what she does. I can stand behind that. And I always do. And it's never steered me the wrong way.
Exactly.
There's been a few, oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
There's been a few other kind of awesome stories that have happened over the years. Again, another OG. I don't know if you remember this. This was years and years ago. We should probably have her on the podcast too. But Punkette, AKA Liz, Punkette Betty. Yeah. So this amazing soul came to us as one of the OGs again. I think she was probably 2014. Her son is my son's age. And she's the friendliest, most creative. She's just one of those feel good people to be around. Just a cool chick. She does karaoke. She does so much stuff. In fact, she came to Jackson's my son's first birthday party. So he had again, I was a mom that had no clue what I was doing, and I needed to find some friends for my kid to have a birthday party. Right. So these other moms were so cool to help me out with that. But she was at Jackson's party. And so we kind of got close and, started to hang around a little bit. And she went through, do you remember? I was going to say she got really sick, but it was a heart malfunction. I think there's something wrong with her heart. Maybe it's something she was born with or that developed over time. And I don't remember exactly what, which is why I wish she was here right now so she could tell you exactly what. But she was, just like many of us, she was a working mom. She was and is married still. And her husband was working too, but it was a 2-income family. Like they needed it, like we all do. And she was being faced with having open heart surgery. I want to say she was in her early 30s.
Young. Oh my gosh, she's so young.
Yeah. And had she just had her baby at that time?
No, not yet.
She hadn't had the baby yet.
She had the baby after.
Oh, okay. Which is kind of interesting too. She ended up having another kid after that. So just a phenomenal human body on that one to go through so much and then then produce another human. But I remember how scared to death she was, and she had to have open heart surgery, and it kind of came up quick. I don't think she had a lot of time to prepare, right?
That's what I remember.
And so it wasn't very much, but we were able to pull a couple of moms together that decided to toss a couple of bucks into a pot for her. And we were able to contribute to her family expenses, because when you're out of work, let's face it, you're out of work, and now you're
medical bills and
exactly. Now you're adding all of this other stuff to it. And so it wasn't very much. I want to say it was like $400 or $500, but hey, $400 or $500 if you're out of work and you got to put food on the table is something, right? And so we were able to pull that together for her. And I felt like so incredible to hand her that check and just be like, here you go, babe. This is from us. This is the best we could do, but hopefully it helps.
Yeah. Or even you just made me think of now all of the Christmases that we've had adopted families. Like MOMnation has literally touched so many lives, so many families, and not just the women. Like their kids, their spouses, and so can you imagine having all of that for years and then moving, Katie?
I know. Moving
to another state without MOMnation.
Which is why you just make them happen in every single state you move to.
Exactly. So that's a nice segue into why and how we started opening other states.
Yeah. So let's talk about it. You first.
So that happened to me. And I was literally on the sidelines, still helping manage and run MOMnation with Katie and do all of the things. Man, I was gone and still, I was like still putting it together events.
Yeah.
Like, I think prom the very first prom, I was still helping coordinate that. And then I don't know, like movies on Maine. Like, do you remember all of those things? Like I was still putting those together. And so I think every time I was creating and putting these events together with you, a piece of my soul was dying because I loved these events and I saw how many people were like smiling at the events and having a blast in their kids. And we were so far away. So I don't know, what was it, like a year and a half, 2 years of
Was it
me
that
being-
long? I feel like you wanted to do it quickly. No, I'm remembering wrong. Okay.
It was definitely, it was at least a year and a half in, because we had already bought the house. But we were living in another state. My spouse at the time was active duty. So, you know, moving to a place where you don't have family, you don't have friends, you don't have anything, MOMnation would have been ideal. But it was about a year and a half in where Kate and I started to talk about like, hey, I need MOMnation here, because I think I was pregnant with Rory before we started it.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
And Rory was born in 2018. So yeah, we started it December of 2017. That's insane. So basically it was like, I am about to start over as a new mom. My oldest was 12. My middle was 9. So I hadn't had a child in 9 years and now I'm starting all over. I was like, Katie, I was having a panic attack. I was like, Katie, I can't do this. I don't have MOMnation. I need to be back in Arizona. I need MOMnation. And that's not going to happen because we're stuck here. So she was like, well, why don't we start a MOMnation there? And I was like, okay, I can get on board with that. However, it's not going to be as cool. It's going to take a minute. So it did take a minute, but honestly, by March or April of 2018, we were having coffee dates and things where park play dates where 20 plus moms were showing up. It was a grand old time.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. And then we had 2 at the time. So we had Arizona and we had your next state. And, you know, why not go for the rest of the country after that? I'm pretty lofty. So we ended up opening other states. And so for those of you who don't know, we are in Arizona. That is, you know, the OG, that is the mothership, if you will. We are in, what else, Cheri? California,
Washington, California, Texas, Oklahoma, Florida, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Idaho, and Illinois, and then USA.
There
and
we
then
go.
Momentary.
And Momentary. We don't talk enough about Momentary.
I know.
So tell us about it. I'm leaning totally on Cheri for this episode. You guys catching on to this at all? I'm like, Cheri, talk some more.
So Momentary, it hasn't taken off because I feel like a lot of people don't know about it, but it's a group for, you know, military families, essentially. So you could be a military spouse, you could be a military mom, meaning you have a child serving in the military, you know, anything that puts your life into that military affiliation. There's so many challenges and different things that come up when you are part of a military family that I just wanted us to have a group that specialized in specific resources or knowledge or information. Same thing as MOMnation, but specific to those moms that might need to know about deployments and PCSing and moving and doing all of this and that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a home for those moms that need a little bit more information on that side of things.
So less about physical get-togethers, more about, hey, we're all in the military and here's, you know, kind of the things that we have to deal with. So more supportive in that respect, would you say?
Yeah, for sure. And it's minus the events essentially because it's a nationwide group. I mean, or globally, to be honest, because we all know that military deploys and goes overseas. And so all of those people need a resource. But it's just nice because your world as a military, anything is totally different than being in the civilian sector. So we all know as moms, like sometimes it's nice to just know there's other people out there experiencing the same things.
Totally agree. I had a quick thought, and I'm just going to do this live real quick. What if we had a page for Momentary on MOMnationUSA.com? Because we don't have a page for Momentary.
We totally should.
Yeah, I just thought about that.
Yeah. And if you're watching this and you are military, military spouse, military mom in any capacity, and you'd like to maybe write a blog entry or anything like that, maybe there's something you've experienced that other military moms have to go through or come to you for information. If you're willing to share, connect with Katie or I, and we would love to get that taken care of.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm not married to a military, my spouse is not military. I'm not military, but my dad was. And I'm sure my mom could tell you, I mean, we, had to move when I was little, like a year old, because he was stationed in Washington, in 1980, I want to say. And so that's actually when Mount St. Helens erupted. And my mom has like this little baby food jar, because, it was my food, full of Mount St. Helens ashes. And so granted, yes, I was very, very young when he was in the military. He ended up getting honorably discharged because of an injury. And so, or whatever that's called. I don't know if I said the right thing, but okay, good. So that's why we ended up, going back home to New Hampshire, and we didn't get stationed anywhere else. But even just from that small experience that I had, I can see that there's a need for this, and, even for the kids to connect too. And maybe have some support and stuff for the kids, because it's tough. I mean, well, you tell me, I know your girls, and I know they're super smart and resilient and amazing. And so I'm sure they do very well, but moving schools sometimes in the middle of a year and, doing stuff like that can be kind of tough on them.
Yeah. And I honestly think it's getting harder the older that they get, because I don't know about you, but my longest remaining like best friend is someone that I met when I was 16. And so, my oldest is 15. Like, some of these relationships that she's establishing could be relationships that she keeps for the rest of her life. And so to have a connection, to be a best friend with somebody, or, to have that and then up and move. I mean, at 15, yes, at least we have social media and we have so many avenues for them to stay in touch, FaceTime, that we didn't when we were kids. It's still hard. And we know better than anyone that distance, physical distance can develop with distancing a relationship, a friendship, or whatever, Right. I think for us, it's nice to know that, hey, we both know we get busy and we don't necessarily, I think we do text every day, but if there's ever a day where we're not texting, we know, hey, life's crazy. We have kids, we have work, whatever. But
right.
I think at 15 or 16, their mindset's completely different. And so if they don't hear from each other, who knows what they're thinking, like, they don't love me anymore, this and that. But something else that's really nice about military families is that, we just recently moved again, and luckily, they're in school now. And so they're establishing friends. They're very resilient, like you said. But just this weekend, her best friend from the last place we were living said, hey, my dad's getting PCS'd, meaning the military's moving them, and they're going to be within an hour. And so they were here putting in bids on houses, and they said, hey, can we stop by? It was on a whim, but I was like, yeah, it's your best friend from California. Come on. So they came over, and they're moving here by January. So that's really great that now. And I think for me, when I joined the military and then I got out, it was nice to know that, hey, I have friends all over. Yeah. So now she's kind of realizing that, hey, the military is such a small world. Just because we move and leave my friends doesn't mean that I'm not going to see them again someday.
And how exciting that they're only going to be an hour away. So she's going to be able, I mean, that's not far. So she's going to be able to hang out. They're probably not going to go for the same school or to the same school, but.
No, they won't go to the same school, but yeah, I mean, an hour is nothing. And then they're about to get their driver's licenses, both of them. So
nice.
Even more so. I mean, and I don't know. I'm strict with my kids. I don't let them sleep other places, but all of their friends can sleep here whenever.
Yeah. No, I feel you. When my kids of that age, I'm going to be that house.
Right. You can come here. You're not going anywhere. My kids already know. If they ask, they're like, hey, can so-and-so come over? So
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. There's just not that I don't, okay, my friends out there, you know who you are, you guys are fine. It's just the people I don't know that sorry.
it's
but I know.
hard. I mean, it's hard to, with everything that we know and see every day, it's hard to just let your kids, I don't care what age they are, they could be 30. Nope.
Yep. I mean,
You're not
just
sleeping at someone else's house. You're sleeping at my house or your house.
that's it. Exactly. No, I feel you. I'm of the same mindset because I remember, and now I grew up in the 80s and early 90s, right? And so I remember what life was like for me then and the things that I was exposed to then. No offense to my mom and dad. I mean, there's just some things you cannot shield your child from. And I don't want my kid to be faced with some of that stuff, especially now where it's even worse. I'm sorry, but it's worse.
Right. And it's at a younger age. Like it's, ugh. I hate that. I really, really hate that. The fact that they literally have access to everything at their fingertips. And, you know, I can't control how other parents parent and what their kids do and say and show and have access to. So it's hard to be a parent today.
It totally is. And that's why we need each other so that we can share these things with each other and we can teach each other things. Like, for instance, there was a post going around in the group, and we're pretty careful with this too. Like, we don't just let anyone willy-nilly post things that they're accusing others of, or something that hasn't been sort of confirmed by an authority like a school or the police or whatever. But remember there was this post several weeks ago when that TikTok challenge was going, I think it's still going around, and everybody was, or all the kids were vandalizing public
the
bathrooms and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
At least we have an opportunity to notify each other and share this information.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. So like that was definitely happening at the kids at Ariana's school. Like crazy stuff. One day the urinal's missing. Like, but he broke it off. But this was before the school started monitoring. But where do you put a urinal in your locker? Like, how do you carry that down the hall and no one notices?
And no one notices, right? You put it under your jacket.
I don't know. But yeah, I mean, that's scary. Or even, I don't know if you remember, this was during COVID sometime, but do you remember that challenge where like 3 people would get together and they would like pretend they were doing a dance, but the 2 outer people would sweep and like clothesline the middle person?
I remember something about that. Yeah.
And so people were literally getting concussions, or there were a few deaths. I mean, so just little things like that, just to be aware of and in the know, because I'm old. Like, I don't know what's going on with teenagers all the time.
Exactly. And it's way different than what we used to do as kids. Remember, like the worst thing that I did was we made each other pass out. Remember doing that?
I was just going to say that, like, but that was so stupid too. But I thought it was the coolest thing ever.
Oh yeah. I thought we were pretty hot shit doing that. So dumb. Like,
so dumb. Like,
killed a few brain cells, I'm sure.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's nice to keep in the know. And then also, just to be able to connect friends. I mean, too, I've seen some people in our group that say, hey, my kid does this game online. Does anybody else? And so why can't a mom's group have the moms connecting the kids,
At least they know each other. They've got a little bit more background than just some random that's online. Because let's face it, some random could be some creepy 50-year-old person that is, you know what I mean? That's just doing it for all the wrong reasons. You don't know.
Exactly.
So, I mean, there's just so much tied up in what we do. And once you get a bunch of passionate women together that want to support each other and support their community, I mean, there's no bounds. There's just
sky's the limit.
Exactly. And, even just recently, and this is something that we've done for years and years and years, is we do a lot of giveaways. And so our mompreneur moms are very helpful and very generous, and they offer all sorts of things from facials to eyelash serum to wine. Yes. Who doesn't love that? Just recently, I haven't No, I have announced the winner for that. I haven't announced the winner for the trivia yet, but for last week in Arizona, it was incredibly touching. Erica Romero, Top Notch Landscaping. She's one of the OGs also. And I actually work with her landscaping company quite a bit in my real estate business. She gave away a free landscape cleanup to a mom in need. You had to nominate either yourself or nominate another group member. And it kind of went through a little bit of an application process because, of course, Erica wanted to make sure that the person was actually in need, couldn't physically do the work or financially get the work done was her only requirement. And so she had a lot of applications to go through, but the one that ended up being chosen it's just so incredibly heartfelt. And she was so grateful, still talking to her about it. And the work was done. I think it got done yesterday. And it was just, what an amazing gift to bring somebody she's never going to forget that. Like, what an amazing experience and an amazing outpouring of love from this group. And of course, from Erica and Top Notch Landscaping, but something that's so unforgettable. It makes such a difference in people's lives.
Yeah. And I think that brings, what is it? Like at the drive-through when you go and somebody pay it forward. So when I was going through my first divorce, literally I was at rock bottom. Like I didn't have anyone. My family was not supportive. I literally felt alone, but there was a women's shelter in Apache Junction. It's called Hope. That helped me with a couple of resources and a couple of things when my ex had cleared out my bank account. Like I literally had no means to support my 2 kids, and I had a house. Everything was in my name. Of course I worked, but for somebody to wipe out that much money. So this women's and children's shelter for domestic violence survivors was so helpful. And then there was also a member of MOMnation that helped as well after the fact. But I always told myself, like, once I get on my feet, like once I get to a place where like, I'm okay, I'm going to give back. I need to help other people because why wouldn't I? Like there's no way I would have been able to get out of that without some of those resources and things. And so I think that pay it forward mentality really hits home when somebody truly needs help, but would never ask for it. Or, that's the last thing that they would want to do. It gives them pride when they're able to pay it forward in the future.
Totally agree. And that's the kind of stuff that makes the world go around,
Yes.
And one of our little taglines when we first started was mamas helping mamas.
Yes.
And I don't know where that ever went. I don't use it very much anymore. And I don't know why I don't use it very much anymore, because it's really a great description of our group. So next time I get asked, maybe that's what I'm going to say, instead of going into the whole novel of what MOMnation is. Hey man, it's just moms helping moms.
Your elevator pitch is there.
Yeah. It's 3 seconds long instead of, 3 hours long. But there really is just so much in there. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with the group, you can find us online at MOMnationUSA.com. And on that very first page, just kind of scroll down a little bit. You'll see all of the states that we have open and available. Just click on that. That will get you to, it's a Facebook group. So that'll get you to the Facebook group for that state. If you're interested in what resources are available or, what's going on for events and all that kind of thing, we make it really easy for you. And the cover photo has a caption to it. So the cover photo of every single group, which is like right at the top when you get onto the group, click on that caption photo and all of the resources, tons of links of everything that we have available, our events, our distribution list. If you want to get on, to get some of these giveaways, things like that, that is all there. So definitely take advantage of that. Well, my dear, I think we could talk about MOMnation for like an entire day straight, but our hour is up. So we're going to have to be continued this. Although I've really loved this talk and it's been cool to catch up with you as usual. But it's cool to talk about the group and its beginnings, because it really, not that I'm not grateful for where we are right now, because I very much am, but it really puts that into perspective. And it really makes me think, wow, we have come such a long way, and we have really all together, right? It's a group effort. We've really touched so many lives. You had mentioned with the adoptive family. Adoptive family, I think, is coming up on its 6th year. We'll do it again this year. And this is the 6th. And we just in MOMnation, our Washington group did it last year. So they're starting, the other states are starting, but in MOMnation AZ, we've adopted 5 families for the last 5 years. This is going to be our 6th year. I think even one year we did 6 families. And this is the entire family. So it's mom, dad, however many kids there are. If grandma, grandpa live with you, toss them in there too. That's totally cool. And we have provided Christmas for those in need to 5 families a year for the last 5 years. That's 25, count 26 families, because one year it was 6. That's 26 families we've touched.
Plus Mama Cheri, one of our amazing moms that is in MOMnation Arizona as well. She literally provided a tree, lights, everything needed for another family in Arizona as well.
Oh, that's awesome. For a military family?
Yeah. Shanna, remember?
Yes. That is amazing. Oh, warms my heart. All right. Beautiful co-founder. Well, it's been real. I thank you for your time.
Of course. And I'd love to see what other questions you guys have about the group if we didn't answer it or go over it.
Totally agree. So if you are listening to this on your favorite podcast platform, please do us a favor and subscribe, download, and rate us. So that way we can, it's because that will help us naturally get out there to more listeners, right? So those platforms are going to show our show to more people, the more interaction that we get. So please do us a favor there. And if you are listening on one of the podcast platforms, pop over to YouTube, pop over to Instagram or Facebook and TikTok. We are on all 4 of those. So whatever one of those social media platforms are your favorite to use, our handle is @MOMnation USA. And that's our handle across all 4, right? TikTok also?
Yeah.
Awesome. And you can message us there. You can comment on, we will have this video for replay in those areas also. And so you can comment on that video if you've got any further questions, or if there's something that we didn't touch on that you would love us to. We're happy to do this topic again, I think, right?
Yes, always.
All right. Awesome, guys. And one more thing, if you're interested in being a guest on the show, please follow us again, those 4 social media platforms, or MOMnationUSA.com. Send us a message and just let us know why you would like to be on the show, and we'll talk to you. All right. Have a great day. Don't freeze too much.
All right. Have a good day.
Bye, guys.
Bye.